Hey there, cheers. Welcome back to Holland's Kino Club. Oh yeah, fresh tap water. So, I want to talk about Backrooms. I saw it. I went into the liminal zone that is the Backrooms, and I have a few thoughts. And I don't want this video to come off as me being a hater. Because clearly I'm going to get into an issue that I saw within the movie that personally, I'm speaking only for me. I don't want to say ruined the film, but definitely took it from being like, okay, this could be a fun kind of, I'm saying Gen Z, but like, Gen Z classic. See a lot of younger potential filmmakers, a lot of younger movie fans really liking this. Kids that grew up reading the OG creepypasta, grew up seeing Kane Parsons YouTube videos. For reference, before watching Backrooms, I had not actually seen all of the original YouTube videos by Kane Parsons. Clearly, this kid, very talented. He got the benefit of growing up in a technological age, being able to have access to really great video software, the ability to learn Blender at his disposal, and utilize that talent, and was able to make a fucking $20 million movie. It's one thing I'll give this movie. Looks like $20 million. The sets are awesome. The effects are awesome. The fun and games section in the middle of the movie is great. The moment it went like handheld found footage, I love that shit. I love the found footage genre, even the bad ones. I have a soft spot for them. So them doing that, I was like, you know what, count me in. I want more of that. So clearly, this kid has some sauce. He has some riz. He has some motion. Even though there's stuff in the movie that I didn't like, ultimately the way that I view movies, especially if I'm doing like a review or critiquing them, is I'm willing to meet a filmmaker in the middle. I'm willing to accept when, hey, I didn't like that decision, but I get why they made it. I understand. The decision to incorporate this therapist character, I was not a fan of at all. So much so, I hate saying this, it's going to make me sound ageist. The therapist character being in the movie made me think, oh yeah, a 20-year-old made this. And I have no clue how old the actual writer is, because I know the writer, there's like a separate writer for the movie, but like clearly Kane Parsons had some amount of was in the room helping conceptualize the story. And on its face, it has a pretty intriguing, like not just the hook of like, ooh, a secret liminal space that shouldn't exist, but it does. The lead actor, I'm not going to try to pronounce his name because I will botch it, and there's nothing worse than seeing a white guy not know how to pronounce something. I love that actor. He's great. The whole movie, in Backrooms, he hams it up. The performance is fucking awesome. I wanted more of him. So much so that when he wasn't on screen, I was kind of getting irritated because he's such a fucking great actor, and the movie utilizes him. It's not like he was underutilized, but here's the thing. His character, a guy that is resentful about life, got kicked out by his wife, wanted to be an architect, but just due to circumstances potentially out of his control, he's now the manager at a fucking pirate-themed shitty furniture store. There's a lot to work with there. A lot of good stuff that I personally, from my own like personal taste, I love. There's a lot that could be shown with that. And we do get shown some of it. A lot of it's told directly to our face when he's talking to a therapist. I don't know. I don't want to sound mean. It's lazy. The therapist's backstory is boring. If you cut her out as a character, the movie to me would have been 10 times better, because what the movie should have been is the lead dude and his two employees. I wanted to know more about the two employees than I did about the therapist. I did not. This is clearly like maybe a personal taste thing, but it did devalue the film for me. That being said, ultimately, the special effects are really great. The sound design is amazing. The music is really creepy. Spoiler alert. Oh my God. Don't shoot me. Hands up. Don't shoot. Spoiler alert. Even with like the end of the film, following her as she's trying to escape the backrooms, being chased by the simulacra of the furniture store mascot, I was still hooked because the effects are so great. The set design is so great. That's one, dude, the set designers for this movie, perfection, everything. Like, you didn't have to set this movie in the early 90s. You know, it could have been said at any given time, realistically. If you're dealing with like a location being a borderline supernatural substrate of our reality, you don't really, it doesn't matter what time it's set in, but there's an ugliness to the 90s aesthetic, the early 90s aesthetic, that is just whoever they got to do the set design, kudos. Costume design, kudos. I loved all of that shit. It feels so uniquely 90s ugly. Beautiful work on that. I've seen some people say that there's like a kind of underlying message. I think it was Mark's Movies. I'll pop his face up. I like his content. He's a good guy. But the title of the video, or the byline of the review or whatever, was about the dangers of nostalgia, which part of me could get, especially with the lead character. He is reminiscing for something that he was never able to really have. You know, he was never able to really live his dreams of being an architect. So I understand where he's coming from. I do sometimes think, like, I know I'm not the only person to mention this, but the Backrooms creepypasta is short. What makes it super compelling is its vagueness. Is like you're interacting with something that shouldn't exist and that you can't explain. And, you know, to Kane Parsons' credit, they do reference that. I feel like the architect angle of the lead character was not utilized enough, because what I was expecting is that he would get into the back rooms and like the architectural like mind would kick in, and he would try to understand, almost like the movie Cube. If you've seen that cult classic from the 90s, Cube, you know, you're trapped somewhere and you're like, I need to find a way to figure this out. And, you know, the fun and game section sort of is that, but I don't know if there was I need to rewatch the movie, get into the comments, berate me, beat me over the head with a shovel. There's probably details I'm forgetting, but I was really expecting, I was expecting him to kind of use his architectural knowledge. Now, that being said, and you know, he didn't, that's fine. That being said, I do like at the end, as my buddy Kyle put it, he became king of a hell of his own creation. I like that. I would have liked it better had the therapist not been there. Had we followed the main guy with the camera longer. Maybe there's more conflict between him and his girlfriend. And then we come to find, oh, this dude is, you know, you could have the movie diverge in multiple paths with multiple different endings. That all would have worked way better if the fucking therapist lady wasn't there. I am being mean. I just thought she was a lazy character.
Okay, so I went and torrented a shitty cam rip of Backrooms to kind of go back through a few scenes to make sure my memory was correct. And there's this one scene after the lead character gets out of the Backrooms for the first time. He has drawn a map and he's showing it to the therapist, and his reaction I found kind of funny and charming, where he's like, oh, this is crazy. Like, I can't make heads or tails of this. And the therapist clearly is like, this is odd. This is strange. I don't know how to feel about this. You know, obviously, I have a problem with the therapist character. I wish they weren't in the movie. It's hard for me to meet the filmmaker halfway with that. But imagine this scene if instead of it being the therapist, it was like a regional manager for the furniture shop chain. And he's like a bit timid around them. He's, you know, they're like analyzing all the stock and the sales metrics, all the kind of bullshit business stuff. And he's timid and he's trying to bring up to them, you know, hey, I found something weird in the building. Do we have like blueprints anywhere? Is there any way to like explain this? And then being just like the regional manager responding in a like, what the fuck are you talking about? No. Sell some chairs, bro. Well, what is this? Almost like a kind of like casting away. I think a manner that a lot of us maybe might not understand. Most of us have worked bullshit fucking jobs. You know? I feel like never having the movie never should have left the furniture shop. And for the most part, it doesn't. Aside from when we're following the therapist character.
Let me get back to something I mentioned earlier, where I'm willing to meet a filmmaker in the middle, where it's like, even if I didn't like it, I can kind of go, you know what? That's your vision of this world. Doesn't work for my personal preference, but I'm not going to judge it. The moment she gets out of the back rooms and it's revealed there's a scientific team that's studying it. And, you know, it's foreshadowed very briefly when you see Mark Duplass eating and him watching the TV. That happening was my like, oh, that's what this is. This is going to be a franchise and not just a creepy little story that can stand on its own. I will say, like, whenever a Backroom sequel arises, I'm going to watch it. I love Mark Duplass. Let that guy go fucking nutso with it. But the whole point of the Backrooms is that it is unknowable. Like, that's what I initially, before watching the movie, didn't watch the YouTube shorts. After the movie, I watched the YouTube shorts. And the reason I ended up liking those, honestly, a lot more than the actual movie, they're all like found footage. And they're all just these isolated little moments because, well, I don't want to know what the Backrooms is made out of. We don't need to know that. We just need to know that it's creepy. It's kind of sometimes the beauty with horror is like the less you know, not the whole like, oh, you don't want to, like the less you see, the more the imagination can fill in. But like the less you know, the creepier something is. Like this place shouldn't exist. Why the fuck is it opening up? Why is there a portal inside of an old furniture shop? We don't need to know. We just need to know that it's very scary, that I'm very scared because I shouldn't be here. And this place is kind of like our world, but also what if our world was all fucked up? But that was my big complaint is the therapist character. I think it's very lazy writing. There's 11 producers on this movie. Big names. And I get it. You put a big name, you put Osgood Perkins, you put James Wan on the producer credits, might get more people to come in and see. But you get this young filmmaker. Why the fuck weren't any of them going, hey, Kane, buddy, the writer, Will something, I think his name was. Why don't we rework this script just a tiny bit? Why don't we? Not that the movie is not huge in scope by any means. You cut her out, I feel like it would have flowed way better. There's some issues with pacing. Not the worst I've ever seen. Why aren't these big dogs helping out the little guy? And like, don't get me wrong, little guy got a fucking budget of $20 million. And then it clicked in my head. Oh, no wonder it's Osgood Perkins. And to me personally, the guy has one good movie, which is The Monkey. That's the one where I'm like, oh, if Osgood Perkins just made movies like that, count me the fuck in. That movie was very funny. I love seeing a guy get trampled by horses. That was awesome. Very, very fun film. Blackcoat's Daughter. Watch that shit twice because the first time I watched it, I did not like it and didn't get the hype, but I thought maybe I'm just in a bad mood. So then I waited a month and watched it again and was like, I still don't understand. It's not that I didn't get the movie. I didn't find it entertaining or enthralling. I didn't even find it creepy. The Keeper was dog shit. That is just I don't like doing it's objectively bad. I get why somebody might like it. That movie was boring as fuck up until the end with the weird vision of multi-headed lady person thing. Like that was cool. I would love to have seen more of that leading up to that. Dude, I had to keep trying to lock in because I was so fucking bored with it. And Longlegs, not my thing. I don't want to call it a bad movie because tons of people liked it. I was not the core audience for it. It didn't do anything for me. What I was saying before is I can meet a director in the middle. So like the ending of Backrooms, I didn't like it. I didn't like that it was setting it up directly for a sequel, even though it's foreshadowed. But that's part of his universe. Part of the Kane Parsons Backrooms cinematic universe is that there's a scientific team that's diving in, trying to find out what the fuck is this place? Why does it exist? I don't like that. I don't like the sequel bait, but I can meet him in the middle. That's what he's trying to do. I don't know if he necessarily was trying to get a sequel made beforehand, but it's just part of the universe he's creating. You know, I'll roll with it. And I'll roll with it specifically, man, 20 million. Up it. Give him 100 million. Give him $1 billion. Get him to have CERN help crack some sort of hole in our universe so they can film in the real Backrooms. Or maybe we get Christopher Nolan on board as producer and Kane Parsons can get $1 billion. Not just 100 million, $1 billion to create a camera that can only work within the fourth dimension. Huh? Like where I'm going with this? Come on, call me Mr. Moneybags. Put me on that producer credit, baby. I'll whip Kane into shape. I'll be on set with a big switch. Anyways, that's my review. I think it was a very fun movie to watch. And like I'll put it this way, on Letterboxd, I'm not like a massive Letterboxd user by any means. I mostly just like to see what I have and haven't watched. I don't put like in-depth reviews of any kind on there. I gave it 2.5 stars out of 5. To me, just with how my brain works, two stars isn't even like that it's a bad movie per se. Usually just indicating that there's a lot of decisions made that just did not tickle my fancy. I was probably being a bit harsh because I do got to say the special effects are awesome. They're really cool. That scene where the lead guy is like, oh, and we can eat them too. And like seems kind of almost like giddy about it and is like ripping the guy's stomach and it's that weird foam. That shit fucking creeped me out. When she's like walking down the hallway and sees the paintings on the wall and then like the therapist lady turns around and he's standing there. It's just that wide shot, the way the wall is tilted, like all of it is like immaculately done. But yeah, you know what? I'm always going to root for the YNs, the young guns out there that, you know, kid kicked ass doing his YouTube stuff. Hopefully he gets a $50 million budget to make Backrooms 2 Electric Boogaloo. I will say, dude, this is just me being a fucking boomer. Okay. I'm an unk. I'm a chopped unk. I'm a chunk. The only place I surf on 4chan nowadays is X, but I still actively surf X, even though X, the paranormal board on 4chan, where the original backroom story like came from, the original creepypasta, the green text. I don't know if it was green text. I can't remember, but I was surfing X when that story dropped and watched it go from like a kind of creepy little 4chan story to being narrated by all the YouTube creepypasta guys to having its own weird universe. And this is where I get boomer brained, because I do sometimes like when there's something that's really good that's just its own isolated little thing. And I blame younger people for this, but I'm not holding it against them, and I'm not mad at like a bunch of Zoomers that are young and into creepypastas. They're going, actually, there's 100 levels to the back rooms, and one of them, it just looks like a hospital, and one of them, it's a playground world, and then if you go further, it's the pool world. Kids are going to do that. And they probably had a fucking blast being online, writing their own little backroom fanfics, reviewing fanfics, playing pretend with their friends that they're in the back rooms, playing the back rooms video games that have come out, the little indie made ones. But I'm a boomer. So once I saw, here's all 100 levels of the back rooms, level 100. Like when I started seeing those videos, the purity of the story of it just being its own little thing is gone. Now, I'm not saying what came in wasn't pure. It's pure imagination from young people. Even though I can admit, I don't get it. I don't get, like, why do you want to make a big universe out of the back rooms? Why can't it be its own little thing and just exist like that? I'm never going to be the unk that's like, hey kid, fucking stop. Hey, I'm going to beat the shit out of you, little kid, if you don't stop having fun on the internet with your friends, you fucking retard. I would never do that. I was a kid. I was stupid. I used to, when I was like 9 and 10, I would send letters to Nintendo Power saying, hey, listen up, big dog. I got the next Zelda story on lock. Here's 40 pages handwritten detailing everything. I got a new Resident Evil game. I know you guys don't make those, but I was obsessed with Resident Evil 2 when I was like 9 and 10. I had it on PlayStation and Nintendo 64. But hey, we now live in the world where creepypastas and memes can become movies. You know, they tried to do this initially with the Emoji Movie. No, we don't need that. We don't need the Emoji Movie. What the fuck? Here's the thing, emojis aren't memes. They're not internet stories. Backrooms, Giga Chad, Slenderman, a lot of these characters now, especially when it comes to meme, they're like either modern digital urban legends, aka Backrooms, Slenderman, or modern, essentially folk heroes like Giga Chad or the Chud Jack or Soy Jack. Like, these are like modern internet folk heroes. There's a lot of amazing, genuinely amazing green text from 4chan that would make such funny movies. There's the ghost puncher guy, the ripped roid head who wants to insult the demons and they become afraid of them. That one's really funny. There's one and I cannot fucking find it for the life of me. I'm pretty sure T6 on YouTube, who reads green tech stories, had uploaded the story. But it was about two siblings whose parents were bigoted. Then the parents die. They inherit the home. They can't sell the home right away. They have to live in it for a month before they can legally sell it. Their bigoted parents are haunting the home, and they're like, "Fuck, how are we going to sell it when our morbidly obese, racist, sexist, demonic parents are still haunting the premises?" What do? Decide to scare them off by having giant, gay, drug-fueled orgies. That would make an amazing movie. But hey, they call me Movie Moneybags Holland. I say you take one of these OG green techs that's like well known on the internet, and then you insert the other meme folk heroes into it. So you got the Ghost Puncher guy, have it be Giga Chad. We need to just genetically modify a man to be like 6'9", pure muscle, and always have a jovial attitude. And for some reason now, in the wider world of the Giga Chad like cinematic universe, he has like an army of flies. We don't need an answer. Just let the memers cook. It's the only type of thing I like to see AI generated is Giga Chad on the back of a fly. I don't understand. Anyways, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. I don't know what movies I want to review next. So if you want to hear me ramble about any films, I have been watching a lot of old Japanese movies. Whew. Good Lord, that can make them. Let me tell you what, boy.